the Jerusalem pattern in Antioch, Corinth, and beyond. The way that began in Jerusalem did not remain within the city's walls. It spread outward like fire carried by the wind, moving through valleys, over ridges, across seas, and into the marketplaces and homes of distant lands. Yet wherever the way traveled, it kept the same heartbeat. Households in other cities did not craft new patterns or invent new customs. They received the life of Jerusalem as a seed carried in the hands of the apostles and watered by the Ruach HaKodesh. And in every place the seed grew into the same kind of tree. When persecution rose in Jerusalem and believers scattered, some fled as far as Antioch. They carried no scrolls of strategy, no charter, no official design. They carried the teaching of the apostles, the rhythm of prayer, the habit of breaking bread, the practice of mercy, and the courage given by the Ruach. In Antioch they gathered in homes as they had in Jerusalem. They prayed in the morning, listened to teaching in the gatherings, shared meals in the evening, and cared for the weak. When Barnabas arrived and saw the grace of Yahweh among them, he rejoiced, for he recognized the same life he knew from the city of the great king. The pattern he found in Antioch was not a reflection. They were branches of the same olive tree. Barnabas brought Saul to Antioch, and together they taught the assembly for a full year. Their teaching did not build a new house. It strengthened the foundation laid in Jerusalem. Households opened their doors wide. The poor received care. Widows were honored. Prophets spoke, and the words were weighed. When the Ruach whispered during fasting and prayer, the assembly listened, sending Barnabas and Saul on the path marked for them. Antioch became a lamp to the nations, yet its flame burned with the fire lit first in Jerusalem. From Antioch, the apostles traveled to many cities, and wherever they went, the covenant path took shape in the same way water fills the form of a vessel. In Corinth, where merchants filled the harbor and idols crowded the streets, the way took root through households that gathered for instruction and broke bread together. The assembly there needed correction, for their city's noise sometimes echoed in their gatherings. But Paul reminded them of the pattern. One loaf, one body, each member walking in love, prophets speaking while others discerned, tongues interpreted, not confused, meals shared with humility, purity guarded with vigilance, the teaching of Yeshua kept at the center. He did not lay a new foundation in Corinth. He called them back to the true one. In Ephesus, the Ruach moved with great strength. Paul taught in the school of Tyrannus during the heat of the day and in households at night. Elders from the assembly walked with him, learning the shepherd's work. When Paul prepared to depart, he gathered these men on the shore and reminded them that the Ruach had made them overseers. He charged them to guard the flock with vigilance, for wolves would come. They wept, for they understood their calling. The pattern of Jerusalem lay upon their shoulders, the work of gate judges, watchmen, shepherds, and teachers. In Philippi, a woman named Lydia opened her household, and the assembly gathered beneath her roof. In Thessalonica, believers turned from idols to serve the living Elohim, and their endurance rang out across Macedonia. In Berea, men and women examined the scriptures daily to confirm the apostles' teaching, walking in the same hunger for truth that filled the courts of Jerusalem. Everywhere the apostles went, the assembly formed around the same pillars. The teaching of Yeshua, the breaking of bread, the prayers, the care of the needy, the leadership of elders, and the breath of the Ruach. The letters the apostles sent to these assemblies were not new blueprints. They were cords binding distant households back to the first one. Through these letters, the believers heard again the teaching first spoken in the temple courts. They learned to walk in purity, maintain unity, practice mercy, endure persecution, honor elders, and await the coming of the King. The letters carried the sound of Jerusalem's heartbeat to every land. When disputes arose among the assemblies, the apostles resolved them by returning to the teaching of Yeshua and the witness of Scripture. When false teachers crept in, Elders drove them out by the authority given to them through the Ruach. When famine struck Judea, assemblies from distant lands gathered resources and sent them to Jerusalem, honoring the mother household that had given them life. The bond between Jerusalem and the nations was not a chain but a lifeline, connecting households by covenant love. As the years passed, the way spread further, crossing mountains and seas. Yet everywhere it took root, the same fruit appeared. Households filled with worship, tables filled with bread, gates guarded by elders, generosity flowing like rivers. Purity kept with vigilance, prayers rising morning and night, and hope burning steady for the return of Yeshua. No matter the soil, the same tree grew. The Jerusalem assembly was the root. The assemblies in the nations were branches. But the sap flowing through them was one, the teaching of Yeshua, the breath of the Ruach, the covenant love of Yahweh. And thus the way marched across the earth not as a new religion but as a living household united by the name of the risen King.